Welcome everyone to the Marion Area Black Business Council in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, the Marion Area Chamber of Commerce. My name is Johnny Jackson, and I'll be facilitating the conversation. And we have uh, a really amazing speaker, which I'll get into Jessica M. Coleman's bio in a second. And Matt, would you like to say anything about the chamber? Give me any announcements.
Well, welcome those that are watching the recording and those that are here with us today. Very excited to have this. Will be our fifth, I believe, spotlight, and we have another great spotlight here today to share. And thank you again to Johnny for, as always, for helping facilitate it.
I'm actually going to take that line into reading Jessica M. Coleman's bio, because she's here to give us some good news about mentoring, about a lot of other things too. I don't think that her bio gives her justice, but I'll give her bio and then allow her to have some conversation about her particular business. So Jessica M. Coleman is a Marion, Ohio native, mother to 3 boys, and is the owner of the Legacy Mentoring Group, LLC, a youth mentoring and consultancy company. Jessica is also the founder of Leading Ladies Ohio, a mentoring program for girls in kindergarten through grade 12, and has received numerous awards for both the mentoring program as well as her community involvement. These acknowledgments of her commitment to youth and community include the Forge Business Class Award and the Marion Stars Dynamic Dozen Under 40. In 2019, Jessica became the first Black Miss Marion Popcorn Festival. In 2021, Coleman received the Friend of Public Schools Award presented by the Ohio School Board Association and was inducted into Marion Technical College Alumni Hall of Fame. Most recently, she received an accommodation for exemplary service from the Ohio House of Representatives. And this is, I feel, just a blip of what she does when it comes to the imprint of her legacy on young, middle age, and older people in Marion, Ohio. So super excited to have Jessica M. Coleman here. And I have to ask Jessica, how would you like the format? Would you like us to ask you the questions, or would you like to answer the questions yourself?
It'd probably be best if you ask me the questions. That way, you know, you're getting an answer. Yeah, we can do it that way. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, welcome. We're super excited to have you here. And thank you for taking time to come and visit us here at the Black Business Council. So our first question always is, who are you and where are you from?
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me to be here and, you know, share my business. I appreciate it very much. So again, thank you. My name is Jessica M. Coleman. Put the M in when you search me, because then other crazy people come up with my name. So Jessica M. Coleman. I am from Marion, Ohio. I spent about probably half of my life between here and Columbus, Ohio. So I kind of tell people I'm from everywhere, but I am from here. I was born at Marion General Hospital. So you guys get the credit when I'm a millionaire. So.
Okay, so.
Okay, haha, that was a joke. Haha, that was funny. That's one of the unique things about you, is your humor. So I caught that one. We get the credit. All right.
I guess we should also say there's family in here. I know that Pastor Jackie and I are related, and also Jessica M. Coleman and Miss Dyer are related. So this is definitely both an amazing experience to listen and bear witness to Jessica M. Coleman's work, and then also it's a family affair as well. So Jessica, could you tell us a little bit about the inception of your business, Legacy Mentoring Group, and then also Leading Ladies, and how those two things connect?
Yes. So the inception actually came from, well, I guess a little bit about me when you were saying, who are you? I am a mother to 3 boys. I have twin 20-month-year-olds, I think, 18-month, 1.5, whatever. And then I also have an 11-year-old son as well. And I actually had my oldest my senior year of high school. And so that was obviously very much growing up for me at that time. So, you know, I'm now a baby with a baby. And so navigating what that was like as I was growing up with him while also raising a child. During this time, I was also a student at MTC, and I needed to do to fulfill an internship in order to graduate. I graduated from Harding High School, and so I decided to do my internship there. Well, while I'm like working in the guidance office, I keep seeing like all of these like pregnant teens. I'm like, guys, you've got to find something else to do. Like, there has to be something else here. And so I actually asked the principal if I was able to hold an assembly for all of the girls in high school to kind of tell them, like, you know, find something else to do. Like, babies aren't a joke. Like, they really exist, and you don't get to be frustrated and put them in a closet. Like, you really got to raise them after you have them. So I ended up having the assembly. But during my internship class, I was like sharing, you know, like, kids keep getting pregnant. Oh my gosh, they need something to do. And there were actually 2 other women in my class size of maybe 12 at Marion Technical College who were like, we were pregnant in high school for 2 totally different reasons. Like, had nothing to do with being bored. Like, one of the young women, like, her household was very abusive. And so she thought that that would be the only way she got kicked out. And another one actually, she said for her, it was like finding love. She had a 2-parent household, but she didn't feel like she got love from her parents. And so she wanted to have a baby so that she can have this love. And so when they told me that, I was like, wow, like, perspective means everything. Like, we think that people are doing a certain thing for a certain reason, and there are a plethora of reasons for why someone does what they do. And so I invited, you know, these 2 women to come and speak at this assembly. And I also invited Pastor Jackie because, as she spoke a little before, like, she had both of her children and was married, you know, by the time she graduated high school. And it's very important for me, for girls, especially brown girls, to see achievement no matter the mistakes that you made. And so these 2 women came with me, Pastor Jackie, and I had a friend from high school when I lived in Columbus who also came and spoke. And one of the women had shared for the first time that she had actually given her baby up for adoption. And like, this setting was the first time she had ever shared that with anybody other than her parents. And I was happy that she was able to have the space to do that. And so at the end of this conversation, though, we asked if anyone had any questions. And one of the girls, her name is Jasmine Kyle, because I told her I owe her a car for this, but she asked, when are we doing this again? And so from there, that's where Leading Ladies came. And so I was there every Friday for an hour, spending time with these girls, inviting women like Pastor Jackie and Tara to come and fellowship with them and spend that time. So that's kind of how that's the inception. But I do actually have a video that I want to share with you. So for the past 5 years, I had been running Leading Ladies Ohio, a mentoring program for girls K through 12. And it was a great experience. I graduated almost 150 girls. I hate when people say almost 150, because what is that, 149? So like, yeah, 148. But I graduated all these students, and I then in September, it'll be a year that I've turned it into a business. So Leading Ladies Ohio became the Legacy Mentoring Group, LLC. I found myself doing a lot of things with these girls and then having to go do them again with my son, you know, because mom guilt. And so I didn't want to do that anymore. And I was also coming in contact with a lot of teenage boys who also needed that assistance as well. And so I was like, well, I'm going to turn this into a business. That way I can help everybody. and get paid. So yeah, that's where Legacy, that's when Leading Ladies transformed into Legacy Mentoring Group LLC. So I do have a video to share with you guys. Let me see if one second. Hi, my name is Jessica Coleman. I am the founder of Leading Ladies Ohio, a mentoring program for girls K through 12, with each girl being and have her own mentor. So for example, a 3rd grader has a 7th grader to tell her what middle school is like, and then both girls have like a sophomore and a senior to tell them what high school is like. Because we're always more receptive to listen to people who just walk through what we're walking through. We have the mentoring aspect of it, of course. We also have sessions where women in the community come in and not only talk about their careers, but who they were when they sat where the girls sat. We also have volunteering in our community, and then the girls who volunteer are awarded with field trips. So today we're actually at the Columbus Museum of Art. So you'll see all of our girls today.
Today we're doing the Columbus Museum of Art, and it's my first time also being here. It is very informative and I've learned so much. The artwork here is really great and just very powerful when you actually take the time to do it. One thing I enjoy about Leading Ladies is that they bring all these young ladies together and they pretty much give you a chance to bond, to get to know each other, and also get to experience things that you would normally do on your own.
I'm Destiny.
I'm Ariella.
And we're with Leading Ladies. I just enjoy like seeing all the girls have fun and get out and meet one another.
Yeah.
I'm Ebony Harding, and my favorite part about this trip was technically everything. All of the art had like a life to it.
Hi, I'm Ray. I like Leading Ladies because it lets you express yourself.
And I love Leading Ladies because it gives you a place just kind of like be surrounded like with other good people and kind of like make friends, like and feel like maybe you fit in.
Leading Ladies, honestly, it's a life changer and opens your eyes to new things. I love that I'm able to connect with different people from different backgrounds, and we're able to enjoy each other's presence and build relationships.
It helps you connect to other people that sometimes you can't know them, but you'll know them afterwards. But Leading Ladies is a good program for everyone.
I like Leading Ladies because it helps you connect with people you don't like know necessarily, kind of what she said, but like you get to do things with other people. And I mean, sometimes it could be with your friends, or it could be with somebody completely different. It helps you communicate, and you won't feel so alone.
I think Leading Ladies is a very important and inspirational group that teaches young ladies to respect one another and really appreciate it.
And what I love most about Leading Ladies is Jessica and her ability to inspire others. I love everything about her and this group, and able to give young women or young girls a voice and inspiration.
I don't know, Jessica. I don't know if you saw. I was snapping.
Oh,
Miss Dyer put a comment in the chat box that said, "I love this. They are all so amazing." Pastor Jackie was clapping. Matt was shaking his head in very end. So like you have lots of fans on the screen, and I'm sure also they're going to be virtual. And I wanted to kind of back up a little bit. And like we saw what you offer these young ladies as far as like field trips and some other mentoring options, and then, you know, some other things that you're doing. Can you talk a little bit about behind the scenes things that you're offering these young women? Because I know that you also do a lot of one-to-one mentoring.
yes. So I don't know. It's Leading Ladies Ohio and Legacy Mentoring Group are everything that I had, that I wanted, that I needed when I was growing up. And so it really is like full circle, all hands on deck mentorship. Like I have mentees in college now who I'm like, you know, helping them like write letters to their counselors, you know, explaining hardships that are happening in their family, teaching them how to communicate. Because oftentimes, especially going through college, it's very easy to not go to that first class and then not go to that second class. And then you're worried about like failing classes. Sorry. But you're worried about failing classes. And so having that conversation with them before they even start, like you need to have an open dialogue with your professors. If there's something going on, if you're battling depression, a parent is ill, you need to let them know from jump what's happening, so that they can move accordingly. And I tell them all the time, like, your professors are humans too. Like, we all experience the pandemic. Everyone understands being stressed and being overwhelmed. But what you can't do is skip class or not go to class or fall into this depression and not communicate. And then at the end, right before, you know, Christmas break, you're like, no, woe is me. And I'm able to give them this advice because I've experienced it. I've lived this life, and I tell them all the time that when we're traveling the quote unquote road of life, like it's very easy to fall into potholes or get sidetracked. And mentorship is to help you not do that. Or when you do make a mistake, to know that, again, there's success on the other side. So I'm like, if I keep falling in this pothole, why are you behind me still falling in this pothole? Like, and we find that that happens because we're not telling people our experiences. Like, so for Pastor Jackie to come in and be like, yes, you know, I did have 2 children before I graduated high school, but this is where I am now. Like, all they see is where you're at now. Like, no one sees your hardships. And so the purpose of Legacy is to tell people how I got here. And when people come in and pour into these kids, it's very important for them to tell them how they got here. Because when you're just talking about, you know, being a pastor or being a director or being admin or being on school board and Black Heritage and all of the things that you do, like, I'm sorry, like right now, I'm just trying to get through high school. Like, okay, good for you. But when you're like, no, I was in high school and it was tough. Like, I remember teachers being like this, or I remember having to help my family do this. And then they're like, okay, like I can now see myself as a doctor, as a lawyer, as a pastor, as a school board member. So, yeah, I feel like I didn't answer your question, Danny.
No, it's fine. So I wanted to ask Jessica, why is your Black business important to Marion, Ohio? So can you speak a little bit about why your Black business is important to Marion, Ohio?
So my Black business is important to Marion, Ohio, because it pours into the next generation. My Black business is important to Marion, Ohio, because representation matters. To be able to, I think just my story is like very inspirational, but just all the things that I've been able to accomplish with this program is very important for the kids that I mentor to be able to see. So it's very important for my Black business to be in Marion, so that I'm not just pouring in the kids so that they can be mentors. Like, I'm pouring in the kids so that they can be pastors. I'm pouring in the kids so that they can be, you know, directors. I'm pouring in the kids so that they can be doctors and lawyers and things like that. And this business is important because it gives kids the avenue to go wherever it is that they want to go. Yeah.
I have a question, Jessica. I know, you know, you had Leading Ladies, but now it's called Legacy Mentoring. How many young men do you have in the program that you are actually mentoring?
6.
6? Are they younger, or what's?
So I have
sharing the age.
Yeah, well, I have 3 seniors who just graduated from Harding, 3 senior boys, and then I have 2 in middle school, and then there's 1 at the elementary school level.
Wow. Do you have a location, an office where they come to meet you, or how does that work?
So my mentees, like the ones I have actual relationships with, they're able to come to like my house. But when I'm in the community, that's where I'm meeting the kids. So whether it be at the library or whether I'm at, Harding or Grant, but the kids that I don't know, want to say collected, like the boys are relationships from the girls in my program. So one is like the younger brother of a girl, and then like the boyfriend of one, which I was like, I don't even know how I'm in this. But then they start calling me about the relationship stuff, and I was like, I did not sign up for this. But I digress. But so yeah, that's why I decided to change it to Legacy, because there were boys I was hoping, and I was like, I might as well get paid for this. Like,
Right.
I love the fact that you're filling a huge gap around mentorship, but it also one of the things that we know about schools, and particularly like Black young people, is that they need a lot of spiritual affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very like excited to hear that you're giving them something that is like largely needed for them. And you're also filling a gap that is between school, community, church, and other things. Can you actually speak to what do you think young people need in our community? Because it sounds like you have your finger on the pulse of that right now.
They need to be heard. A lot of people in our community think that like they know what's best for kids, or they think they know the answer, but no one's actually asked these students what it is that they feel like they need, or helping them find that answer. We're like, they don't go to school. Well, institute this, instead of figuring out why they don't go to school or what we could do to get them there. So yeah, I just feel like they need to be heard. With the pandemic, for sure. I feel like kids are being left behind. Like, we all struggled collectively and individually during the pandemic, just as adults, not knowing what was going on or how we need to protect ourselves and our families. And as a parent, I know myself, when I receive information, it's filtered depending on how I need my child to receive it. And so there was a lot of stuff going on in the pandemic that I didn't know, so I couldn't really convey it very well. Well, like, when you think about parenting, there are kids who didn't get any type of communication as to what was going on, and their only safety was at school, which was now gone until question mark. And then they come back and we're just like, sit down 7 hours a day, and any discipline issue is like, there's no one is thinking about how COVID might be affecting this at all. And so yeah, I'm like, listen, I feel like we become adults and forget that we were kids. We're kids, and we're like, we see adults and we're like, I'm never going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be like this person. And then we become adults and then forget that, like, because I said so is a terrible answer. Like, tell me why I shouldn't put my hand on the hot plate. Like, and then I won't do it. Like, I mean, I might, but then you can at least tell me, like, you told me so or something. But yeah.
Jessica, I imagine your program is one of the safe places where they can feel like they can be heard. I feel like there's times like where maybe we're surveying them as a community. Like, I feel like we're asking, but I feel like they maybe don't feel safe enough to, or in a position where I bet a lot of times we're hearing an I don't know from them when they really do know what they're looking for, but they just maybe don't feel like they're in a safe place to be able to provide that answer. And I bet your program is offering that for many.
Yeah, and often, like, kids are, and even it's interesting doing mentorship as a parent, because I feel like as a mentor, I'm like, oh, these are all the answers. And as a parent, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. But when you ask a kid what they want or what they need, they automatically look for your face to see what the answer is supposed to be. And so when you're like, well, what could we do to provide you a better space? And they're like, well, that's a broad question. Like, what do you mean? Like, so also being specific, or I've also learned that when you take time with just people in general, but especially kids, they open up. Like, I don't walk into a room usually and I'm able to just like make a kid be able to tell me all of their feelings. Like, they have to know that there's genuine like behind what you're asking them or what you're saying, because kids know better than anybody when someone is, you know, full of poop. Like, so if you're asking them like, what do you want? And they're like, I don't know, because sometimes too, kids have been like failed. So the expectation is zero. Like, I don't know, that way, whatever you give me is nice. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think you made an important point too, Jessica, at this conference today, where you talk about your human capital is worth money, because if you look at what the end result is we won't have, we'll have a person who listens, because you said a kid needs to be listened to and have voice, and oftentimes that doesn't happen. But at this conference today, what one of the things that they stressed was, and it was a young guy about your age, and he was saying that so many people, and I've talked to Johnny about this too, and it sounds redundant, Johnny, but a lot of people say, okay, Jessica, you know, this is your job. Why don't you do me a solid and come talk to my son, because he is suicidal, or Jessica, can you do this? And they want you to use this human capital like for free. And what these young people were saying today is there's so much knowledge in your generation of people that yeah, you'll volunteer, but this is also your business. So when you mentioned early on in what you described in your business, I think it's so comfortable because you're from here that people oftentimes think that the service, your business, is something that should be, I don't know, given out for free. And I told Johnny the same thing when he offers his services to do things on social justice or whatever. So these young people were saying that they have a valuable service. And although oftentimes we can do it for free, it is nice. So you have kids, you have your business or whatever. So do you think the fallacy in that argument, or do you see the merits of what this generation is trying to do as something that's worthy of payment, or can you be a volunteer for the rest of your life?
No, you cannot be, because unfortunately they've created like money and we need that to survive. So I have a philanthropic heart and I would love to do all that I do, you know, for free. But yeah, I reproduce and I got to take care of people and stuff like that. So no, I don't think that anybody should be doing the work that they do for free. But I also understand that there are some people who don't see the value in what you do it or what you do. And sometimes it may be because it's just you doing it. And so that goes to that go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. And so, yeah, that's how I feel. I also like we've gotten to a place where people are very good at educating themselves, whether it be by YouTube or reading or things like that. But we're still in an institution that only, I don't know, gives nod to degrees or things like that. So me knowing everything that I know about kids isn't enough sometimes. Like, I also need to have a doctorate in childrenology because that's the only way I could know this. And there are often times where I'm having a conversation with someone and they ask me what my background is because they can't believe that I would know all of this, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe it's because I'm
just on the job training kind of stuff.
Yeah. But it's life experiences. Like, I've lived a lot of places. So I went to 5 elementary schools and 4 high schools. So
yeah, that's what I wanted you to mention.
Yeah, I'm like, I know more than most what it's like to have to kind of start over and over again, and to have gotten to any of those places and just already had legacy in place would have been great for me. And I want for other kids for their first day of school. They're already a safe place. You already know what's a safe place for you to be. So
I think that was a great answer. The Marion Voices concept, for example, and Pastor Jackie knows this because we've been working, with Marion Voices. And when artists, and Johnny, you could speak to this too. What's that called when we respect and pay artists? What do you guys call that? I can't remember what it is.
Well, the original concept comes from Jackson, Mississippi, and they call it like participatory budgeting. That way, like people who are like growing their business and they might just be lay people but they have supreme big talent, making sure you pay them for their labor. And then Marion Voice calls it equity budgeting.
Equity budgeting. Thank you for and Johnny, what's your thought on that?
I really think that, and I wanted to get into this too, is asking Jessica, how can the Marion community support her work through, like, if you need a great keynote and it's a paid keynote, if you need to help grow other people in your organization, because Jessica's also a coach, like how can you kind of like bring her into the fold and purchase her services? But I think that for Jessica's work, it's so critical because she's filling a huge void in not only mentorship, but then also just like, and Matt and I were having this conversation around young professionals and how do you keep young professionals in a community? You either are going to get them employed by some of our larger operations and corporations, or you're going to help them grow their entrepreneurial spirit. And Jessica's on here.
Right.
We need to, as a community, make sure that we are nurturing that talent by way of purchasing those services and those products that she's creating, and she's feeling a huge need for our young people.
Jessica, thank you for coming and sharing. This is well needed, especially in Marion. But my question, I guess I have a couple of questions. Where do you see yourself going? What's the goal for the business? I mean, are you looking to get a building? Just share one of your long-term goals with us. And also, do you have pricing? We're talking about, you getting paid for your service, which I agree with. Are there certain prices that you have out there? Say, if I want you to come to my church to speak to my youth group, what would be the charge? I mean, you don't have to tell me over here, but do you have a price list of what you do? You're on mute, Jessica.
That makes sense. My apologies. I'm like holding it up on the charger. I do have pricing for various things that I do. And one of the great things about Legacy is that I offer much programming. So like Leading Ladies Ohio, I offer Legacy After School, which is just an after school program where we're doing these same things. And I also, everything is 100% my intellectual property. Everything is authentic. All of the activities that we do, all of the events, like last summer we had Summer Jam, where I think we had close to 50 girls come and fellowship, and that was like a 7-hour day. And I built that entire programming, like all of that stuff. So short answer is like, yes, I do have pricing for all the stuff that I do. But we also have SALT, which is student athlete led tutoring. Oftentimes we have students who only qualify for school because they're playing a sport, and then the rest of the school year they're failing classes. But like high school is only 4 years. So, I mean, eventually you have to pass these classes. And so SALT actually encourages students to take initiative. It's student athlete led tutoring. So the students are tutoring each other. The idea is that students who are excelling in biology or chemistry or French are able to tutor students struggling and everyone is kind of paid for doing this. And so in the winter, they would either go to like the zoo lights or whatever that prize would be. But, and then in the summer, it would be like Cedar Point or Kings Island or something like that, just keeping them motivated. Also, it's a community partnership kind of initiative. So it would be a partner with some of the local restaurants. So, there's 4 weeks in a month. If say Attaboys was able to provide sandwiches 4 times a month, and then that's multiple businesses. So we're also feeding these kids while they're helping each other learn. So there's just like a lot of programming that I do, but I also partner with other people in the community or other businesses or institutions in the community to further their mission. So I'm actually, Johnny and I are both partnering with a young woman in the community now. She wants to do a protest in regards to kind of all of the mass shootings that have happened. And so she reached out to Aunt Tara, and Aunt Tara contacted myself, and Johnny and I are kind of helping her with that. And that's not Jessica, that's legacy. Like, that's me as my business, doing that work. As well as on the 15th of June, I'm also speaking with MTC for their Juneteenth kind of celebration. So when I say youth, schools, and community consulting company, it means just that. Like, whatever I can do to help a business or a community or a school along with their purpose, which is, oftentimes helping kids or trying to connect with their employees or things like that, then, that's what I'm going to do. But I just find fun ways to do it. So you asked me the first question, Pastor Jackie, and I forgot. You're muted.
I guess I'm on mute. I asked about one of your long-term goals.
Yes. So my long-term goal is to be an author, a lawyer, be on Jimmy Fallon's couch. And I'm really trying to, these are real goals. These are all going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to be like a millionaire. But my long-term goal for legacy, I want a legacy building in every community. I want an extension of legacy to be at every school. And this is not just in our community. This is like in the United States. Like, I want legacy to be like Girl Scouts. And it will be. That's my goal.
The word that's coming up for me, Matt, when you say all that is agency. The importance of instilling that type of agency in young people, whether they're elementary, middle school, high school, university, young professional, and watching and bearing witness to what Jessica does for young people. And also there's a horizontal mentorship that she does for other young professionals that I think that needs tapped into is for organizations. I know for Marion City Schools, when Ms. Dyer was talking earlier about ways in which we can partner with legacy mentoring, I think it's important for us to figure out how do we use principal, after school, and other ways of doing our budget so that we can help Jessica grow her business, and then also help her keep furthering the work that she's doing. And then we can be a model of partnership for other organizations. So I was just super excited that Jessica was able to get on here today.
I do have another question for Jessica in terms of, do you have any, I guess, other tips or anything you'd like to impart to someone else looking to start a mentoring program, or maybe not even that specific, just a business that you felt was a stumbling thing or challenge that you wish someone had kind of shared with you, or you found a resource that you wanted to make sure people are aware of and that you might be able to share here today?
I don't know. I guess like go where you're celebrated is probably my biggest thing. I know that, especially because this is like, Marion Chamber Black Business Council, we all want to pour into our communities, and do all of these great things and make it better and do all of these things. But sometimes our community doesn't have a lot to give back. And if you at any point, feel yourself or you hear God telling you that, the time it may be time to, look for other opportunities, you should do that because, again, like, as much as I want to, like, just wake up every day and do things for free, like, I have to pay bills and I'd like to take my kids to Disney. And so if you're doing all you can and it's still not coming up, then, it's probably time to explore other options. So that would probably be my only, my only advice, I guess.
That's an important one too. Yes, absolutely. It's important to kind of know when it's time to reflectively look at, is it the region? Is it what you're offering? Is it, is the market there? We literally had we're in the middle of our small business marketing 101 free workshop that we had our first session of this morning. And that was one of the key takeaways, was to know your audience, know your target audience, and know if, I guess, the resources are there, or it's a saturated market, or just like you said, they're not getting the traction that you're looking for, but you still think that your idea is absolutely of value. Then yes, it could be time to shift to a different region or a different audience to target. But targeted, knowing your market seems like a really key component of starting a business.
I saw a story, and then I'll let you guys wrap this up. I apologize, but I saw a story about a violinist. Is that right? Violinist. And he was on a subway in New York or something, and he played this beautiful melody for maybe 90 minutes. Only 6 or 7 people stopped by, and he only made $30. Well, this violinist was a world-renowned violinist, and the night before had like sold $100 tickets to like a sold-out audience at this huge theater, and the piece of music that he was writing was worth like $3.5 million or something like that. And the point of the post was that, sometimes it's your environment that doesn't see your worth, and it doesn't mean that your worth isn't enough. Like, the right audience will see your value. And that's kind of where I'm at here. It's very easy for me to start thinking that legacy has no value, or that it's not good enough. And then I hear oftentimes I'm affirmed that this is great and this just might not be the place. Like, so, yeah.
True to the profession you're in, you are much more eloquent at what I was just saying. I should just let you say it yourself, but well done. That's a very poignant example for sure.
Thank you.
Jessica, thank you so much for coming today and blessing us with your words of wisdom, talking about high level work that you're doing, but also the work that you do that's on the ground, on the grass tops, in the bushes, like all that work that you're doing that is invisible a lot of times. So for our audience, can you tell us your socials and how we get a hold of you? So your social media accounts, if you're reached by that, or how they get a hold of you so they can do business with you.
Well, thank you guys for having me, and thank you for all of your kind and inspiring words that you will keep me going when the going gets tough. So I appreciate it. I can be reached by email at jc.legacymentoringgroup@gmail.com. Yeah, that's how you contact me. Again, I'm 79, so I can't be reached through social media.
Okay. Awesome. Well, for all those out there that are viewing our YouTube channel, thank you for joining us. Thank you also to Matt Carberry for co-hosting, and we will see you next month at our next Spotlight.